All right, so welcome back to the Robby Gordon season. Today we head off to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're 19 races into the season. We have 18 wins, 2 poles. Current point advantage that we have Matt Kenseth is 257. So at this point, I really don't have to care about points until we begin the chase, but I think we already kind of knew that. I'm within 10 races of Richard Petty's all-time win record at 27 that he got back in 1967, if I remember correctly. Matt Kenseth's doing good, though. 12 top 10s in 19 races. That'd actually be considered a really good season if somebody didn't have 18 wins. Martin Truex Jr. sets third in points. I know I was mad at him at Loudon, but I've kind of came back to reality on the whole situation since that race, and I've realized that the best way to beat somebody, the best way to really show it to them, is to kick the crap out of them on race day. It's not to get back into them. You settle that in the particular race that you're mad at him. From this point forward, you just got to win. Greg Biffle, fourth in points, he's starting to do pretty good. And for the most part, the top 8, I'd say, are pretty solid chase contenders. From there is where things get interesting. Like Carl Edwards, Travis Pastrana, Jeff Gordon, Juan, KFB, Rocket Man. I mean, there's a bunch of people who are vying for those last couple chase spots. And remember, wild card's still a thing. All the way down in 29th is David Reagan. He got second at Loudon last time out. 2 top 10s this season. His win at Bristol, and second in the last race. And Joe Nemechek, still absolutely worst guy in the field, and actually by a lot. All right, so like I said, today's event is the Brickyard 400. You're not going to believe me when I say this. This is the worst programmed track in this game. The definitive worst. I know what you might be thinking. There is no way that there is tracks worse programmed than what we saw at Martinsville or what we saw at Bristol or, the pitting crap that we saw at Michigan or Kentucky. Trust me, it gets worse. I'm not going to spill the beans right now, but you'll get the picture pretty soon once we get this race started. All right, so I want to make a big point out of this. See, that says champion. I'm pressing right on the D-pad. It don't get any harder. Here, I got to make sure that's in the camera. Right on the D-pad. Doesn't get any harder than this.
Let's make sure that car's set up just like you want it for qualifying. Get out on the track and see what you think.
I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even remember making this setup because I made this setup back before I actually started doing this series. So that would have been like March or something. For all I know, I extracted this setup out of the ether and the entropy that creates the chaos of this realm. But I'm pretty comfortable with this setup. I think all I did was actually just knock air pressure out of it, but it doesn't. You can go the whole 16-lap stint because there's nothing trick we have to do in this race, and you'll get the picture later, but there's no strategy to this. I'm going to run 16 laps, pit, and then run another 16 to the finish.
The car's looking good. You just need to go out there and put in a good, solid performance.
All right, so this is the highlight of this weekend, the Brickyard 400 weekend when it comes to difficulty. It all goes downhill from here. And since this place is big, long, and kind of boring when it comes to making a timed lap, I am going to take you through my lifting points. And just like Pocono, I do not go through the corners very conventionally in this game. And I never did actually for any of the U-Technics, NASCAR ones at Indy. I always clutch and coast. Car just feels more secure. Right at that light pole, actually not light pole, but that's just one of the reinforcement poles that hold together the catch fence. That's where I lift, or rather clutch. And again, right there, no real point, no like lifting point that I have that's in particular. It's all off feel when it comes to 2 and 4, but 1 and 3 I have points. Like, watch this. Start finish line, that brake marker, or rather lift marker. I get off, clutch it through, let the car apex slowly, because this is cup cars at Indy. And no real strategy for 2 and 4, but just get the car to where you feel comfortable with its apex. You got to be one with the car, you know what I mean? A lot of sports, they say you got to be one with the ball. Well, in this thing, you got to be one with the car. You got to know what it wants. Like right there, you lift. You feel the car want to corner and make the whole exit of the turn. It wants to complete the corner. You have confidence in it. Get back to the throttle as early as possible, and that's a lap. So that's also going to be my only good lap. Jeff Gordon put up a good one. We're not as good as him, but we're 10th.
Push that pace. One more time. Here we go.
Walt didn't hit it. Second lap sucks. That's usual.
All right, top 10, man. We know what we can do here with a good start. Really good drive out there today. Top 10 is great.
Ray really likes those grapes, man, I'm telling you. Jeff Gordon on pole, go figure. You know, we're at the Brickyard. Clint Boyer second. That's pretty good. For the most part, top 10 makes sense. Carl Edwards getting third. That's going to put pressure on Pastrana. Travis qualified down in 15th. But Matt Kenseth is 19th. And Martin Truex Jr. is 13th. By the way, hey, I outqualified Travis finally. But I also outqualified both second and third in points. So I probably won't see them unless I lap them in this race. David Reagan down 28th. He's got to go very far forward. And Joe Nemechek dead last. Great job, bud. You're almost 5 seconds off the pace.
Just remember the basics and give me a good, solid drive.
Hello, everyone. Mike Joy and Darrell Waltrip welcoming you to the greatest race course in the world for the Your Heroes Name Here 400 at the Brickyard.
Michael went out this morning, played a round of golf, came in, watched the cars go around the track. This place, so much tradition, so much history. This is a track that you just got to win on.
IndyCar since 1911 and NASCAR since 1994. Who will cross the Yard of Bricks first today?
Jeff Gordon. Put your money on Jeff Gordon. He's the man.
Well, Jeff has more wins here than anyone else in the field. But at Indianapolis, this could be anybody's day. It's all about maintaining track position.
Jeff Gordon can suck it because I got a rocket ship with a long brake pedal.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's race across the bricks, boys and girls! It's gonna be a long race today.
All right, back to doing the wrong way. And the game's stuttering. Very cool. Now watch how hard the AIs are at this track, okay?
R2 back.
Make good note of it.
Good job. Really good. Come on, man.
Way offline, you can see that.
Got one work at the bottom.
Had to hit the wall. Oh, Jeff, you qualified on pole. How are you in 6th? You miss a shift?
Stay up.
But anyway, Clint Boyer's leading. That's going to be short-lived because, yep.
Okay, let's go find your next victim.
Kevin?
High side. Clear on the outside.
Wow, nobody died. Wow, that was a big avoidance. And Jimmy Johnson, you ain't going to be able to go there.
Running great, buddy. All that
See,
work
I still
paid
set the
off.
fastest lap with that, by the way. That's a sign of how this is going to go.
Clear left side.
Okay. So I gave Clint Boyer his 1 lap of success. His 5 minutes of fame. But look at this run. Okay. Yeah. What am I going, 25 mile an hour faster? That's what I meant by the rocket ship. And by this being the worst programmed track in this game. Because I just passed Clint Boyer. And I ain't going to see him again today. Unless I knocked enough tightness up. I knocked some tightness into this car and I just gave myself a good challenge. Not only destroyed the right side arrow, but also hit a reflector wall. That's a good lap, if you ask me. I can't make this crap up. I always make races harder for myself than they need to be. Because I could have just drove away from the whole field there. No. Now you gotta wreck yourself in the next 2 corners. Almost J.R. Hildebrand. Ray's got to be real proud of me right now. See, what he doesn't know is in the future he'll have to deal with Paul Tracy, but I'm sure right now this is a career highlight for him. Well, folks, this race could have sucked by having, no challenge in it, but I'm at least going to make the first half good. I'm probably going to run away with it in the second, but this first half of the race, there will be fireworks.
Go get it, man. We're still one of the fastest cars out there. Keep hitting your mark.
Hey, Matt Kenseth pitted.
He'll start at the tail of the field.
I don't really have a good reason for that. I guess now he's just deciding to copy me because I've won, 18 of 19 races, so people just think that if you go with my strategy, it'll automatically at least get you second behind the big orange 07. Didn't wreck. I might have destroyed Dennis right there, but none of us spun. All right, so it is hard to pass here. And honestly, the worst part of it is how slow the AIs are.
Awesome drafting, buddy. Great control.
As you can tell, they're not exactly quick.
On the left. That's it, dude. Every position.
David Stremme.
3 wide.
People reckon, and I'm wrecking. Dennis and Danica. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that was probably my fault. But at the same time, you figure when people are going that much slower, like they might be trying to get out of your way. Turns out they're actually trying to get in the way, not pitting. And actually that gained me a lot of track position. 33rd. But you can still tell it's the worst programmed track in the game just by the simple fact of how ungodly slower the AIs are. See, as evident by that right there. Little tiny checkups, like that. Get in there. I've wrecked him. Well, see, for a second there, I thought I was going to be brilliant because I would be the first guy to ever, perform a tandem draft in one of the short shoots at Indy. David Rudelman couldn't handle the might of the push, though. That's unfortunate. And I caught Dennis and Truex and Jeff Gordon. Good. Not pitting again. We're already pretty far through this race. Okay, back to green. I'm up to 16th. Matt Kenseth right next to me. Greg Biffle is the leader. I have not kept an eye on where Travis is, although he's in front of me. See, look at that. Imagine somebody going that far to the outside to make moves at Indy. If there was like 3 lanes. Then we'd still be going to Indianapolis in the Cup Series if there was 3 lanes. Yeah, it's funny. I don't think I've ran into McMurray much this season, so I guess we finally had our moment. Wasn't a major moment, but it was a moment. Didn't make the corner. Wow, Jamie. That was a bump and run out of McMurray. Clint. Okay, we made it. I don't know if they're making it. They don't look like they're making it. I think they did. They actually made that happen. We are still 3 wide. Matt, you are way too slow.
3 wide, you're in the middle.
That might be actually really important for the points now that I realize that. I think I just kicked him to outside the top 30. All right, there's a 5-second gap from me to Greg Biffle, who is the race leader. I have to see how quickly I can make all that up. As evidence of how much this track sucks when it comes to an AI perspective. Did you see how much slower they are? That's actually what's making all the challenge, because it's like passing moving chicanes or ARCA simulator. Like Kyle Busch changing lanes in the straightaway. Kind of overdrove one, but Almirola way overdrove it.
Come on, you got him. Watch your rear.
Seems like for some reason the high lines are working. I can't say I've ever seen that happen at Indy, where like the second and third lanes are like distinctly better.
You're doing it right there, man. Nice and smooth.
See, I'm lifting earlier. I'm jumping to the top, but I'm picking up the throttle
Nice pass, man.
way sooner.
Clear low. Got one working the top.
All right, Dale. Bump and run. Oh, jeez. 3 wide, how you like it?
Nice lap.
Fastest
Good
lap
job.
also,
Really
how you
good.
like that? And that was the fastest lap by like 1 second. The only problem really is that I'm racing with 42 moving chicanes.
Clear up top.
Because just look at the runs. Look at how much slower they are.
Nice and smooth. Clear on the high side.
But it's like, where do you go to pass them? To the bottom? There's an inherent risk in that.
High.
Because they're going to check up.
High side's clear.
But you see, that also happens if you give them the bottom. Because you got to set them up for the exit like that, and now I'm trying to pass 4 cars at once. Or 3 cars, rather.
Outside. Clear high.
Although I didn't wreck. So you got to internally slow down. Again, you are your own worst enemy. And Travis Pastrana, by the way, is in 6th. That is absolutely awesome.
That one's in the book.
Like I was saying, you are your worst enemy in this. Just because if you lose focus, a car going that much slower can really catch you off guard.
Car outside.
See, look at this run.
Light's all clear, bud.
Juan swerving on the straightaway.
Side's clear.
Up to fourth.
Okay, behind you.
And then everybody checking up on exit. It's like when you're exactly when you're supposed to get on the throttle is when they decide to lift. Mark. God, I really don't want to do 3 into this corner, so that was still my fastest lap, huh? Mark. There we go.
Really good, buddy.
You ever seen the bump and run use this frequently in Indianapolis? All right. I didn't quite pop out early enough. Johnson. Dumb idea on your part there. And then Biffle. Way too slow through 3. And actually every corner. Everybody's way too slow. All right. See you, field. I hope to never see them again. The early portion of this race might have been somewhat entertaining, but that's just because of my own idiocy. I guess you could say I could spice up any race just by being in the field, much like it seems like Kimi Räikkönen is doing this weekend at Watkins Glen. But at this point, the race gets super duper boring. And it's times like this where I have to say to myself, I would so much rather be at IRP right now. So much rather.
Keep digging, buddy. It's not over yet.
Fastest lap again. As you can tell, it's been like, what, 2 laps since I got the lead? I got a 6-second lead above Greg Biffle? Yeah. This track's got real good programming, don't it? Although, because I caused so many early race cautions, it does change up the pit strategy a little bit. Not much. It just means I'm going to be able to go 9 laps farther. I was initially going to pit lap 16 and just split the race right in half, but I still got 9 laps of gas. Just ran over a bunch of debris. Don't know who that was off of. There are people who have already short pitted, though. Like, I think there was somebody down lap 14, sometime around there. I'm driving like crap, setting the fastest lap, sub 51 seconds.
Fastest car out there right now.
And I have an almost 11-second advantage. And I mean, look at the track map.
We having fun out there?
Other than this car that I'm about to lap, there's nobody near me. And who is this? Very slow Matt Kenseth. Why is he back here? That's going to be really big for the point game as I'm going to the wall. But yeah, that is going to be really huge for that second place spot because Martin Truex Jr. I don't think is sucking that bad. So he might actually get second out of this.
Second place is way
Another
back.
really slow car. That is Johnson.
Eyeside's clear.
Huh. Imagine this timeline if it was reality. If Indianapolis, somebody 19 laps in had a 15-second advantage, I think by now we'd already have cup races at IRP. Speaking of which, we should go there. We should go to IRP. I mean, come on, it's like the perfect short track, really, for stock car racing. And you want to build like history or something for a NASCAR track in Indiana. By the way, as Greg Biffle pits, Indy, that's never going to be a place where NASCAR can, have some like asserted history. Okay, it's never going to happen. It's an IndyCar track. It always will be, and it always should be. But IRP, we got some legitimate history there, stretching back to the Busch Series days, back when that was NASCAR's only trip to Indianapolis was the Busch race at IRP. If we went to IRP in the Cup Series, there's some history there. Actually, a lot of it for stock car racing at that track. I think that we could build up something big at IRP if there was an actual Cup Series racing weekend there. Going to IRP, I think, would benefit everybody. It wouldn't be NASCAR trying to encroach in on IndyCar's history. It would actually be NASCAR tributing its own history by having a short track race. And it's just a better racetrack, to be honest with you. That truck race, by the way, at IRP was absolutely awesome. Like, it's one of the best stock car races from NASCAR that I've seen maybe in a couple years. I don't know, maybe I was just overjoyed to see a top-level national stock car racing division at that place, but it put on a show that I have waited about a decade for. I was 100% satisfied.
Gotta have you on pit road this lap, buddy.
We ain't pitting this lap. I'm pitting the next lap. Oh, by the way, in my drunken rambling, essentially, about IRP, we have put a 35-second advantage above Curtis Busch. Oh yeah, it's 10 laps to go. I didn't really notice that.
Time to hit pit road. Hit this lap, buddy.
I agree,
Do this all.
because I do not have the fuel for 2.
You ready, buddy? We're
So
low on fuel.
this is the lap we're going to have to do it. Look at how much slower Johnson is.
Clear left.
What's happening? That's the second time I've lapped him, and he trapped Clint Boyer behind him. All right, no reason to get onto pit road too hard. Got a 40-second advantage, and now Kurt's pitting, so I don't have to get very aggressive with this. I can just barely creep this thing down.
Not too fast on pit road, buddy. NASCAR's watching.
Yeah, of course NASCAR's watching.
You've
They
got
watch
company
everything.
fuel anyway, so we might as well put tires on it.
All right, so I made it fine and dandy. Approached pit road, made speed limit. There's nothing to say. I'm going to take 4 tires, repair the damage, which I somehow damaged this car kind of bad. I don't even remember exactly what I did. I just lapped the field. Excuse me? I mean, even if I don't finish the race with the field lapped, I can at least say I did it at one part of the race. I know I ran long, but whatever. Here we come.
Nice pit stop right there, just like we practiced. Okay, let's get back in that rhythm. Let's go get these boys.
And really, the field's right up in
Whatever
front of
you're
me.
doing, you just keep doing it.
I'm merging. Wonder why it says Biffle is 1.1 seconds back. I think it's a lot bigger than that. See, there it is. It actually had to loop the counter. That's why it was screwing up. But I'm still in first, by the way, so nobody passed me on that cycle. Okay, so it's about 27 seconds, the margin from me to Greg. Although I'm going to start lapping, guys. All right, this time, though, I need to desperately not wreck going through traffic, because that would be really, really bad for my advantage.
Doing great, nice and steady. Second place is way back.
Because I'd like to have a comedically large lead. That's Joe Nemechek, isn't it?
That's
Yeah.
it. Close that
Joe
gap.
is faster
Stay on
than
it,
Jimmy
stay on it.
Johnson right now. I have no good
We're on
reason
the
for
high
that.
side.
And I'm really putting together a flying lap right now, so I need this traffic to not screw it. And of course, it's Martin Truex Jr. He screwed it.
Clear on the outside.
Not completely, but because I can still set, maybe.
Great
Yeah,
job, buddy.
that was a faster lap.
Here.
So yeah, both Truex and Matt Kenseth are having bad days. Look at this. Look at
Three wide,
this.
3 wide, you're in the middle. Clear on the left.
Lap
Okay,
traffic
let's get
looking
that
like
clear. Keep
Arca right now.
Clear up high.
Okay, Matt Kenseth. I'm going to actually be able to lap both Matt Kenseth and Martin Truex Jr. in this race. That's a big statement. Oh yeah, trapping him behind Dave Blaney. 2-piece,
Clear down low.
3-piece actually, because Stremian, Wise, 4-piece, whatever. Just keep increasing the number. It's a multiplier.
5 to go.
Might even be 5. Kyle,
3 back.
car inside.
1 outside. Car in front's heading to the pit.
Car in front's headed to the
Clear
pit.
up top.
Again, state your premise.
Clear on the outside.
Because he should not have to pit again. Field bottling up. Jimmy Johnson down to 4 cylinders. Look out. Gonna cut up in front of Newman.
Clear right side. Car approaching your rear.
I missed it.
Out there.
There, I got a not wallet.
Inside.
There we go. I recovered.
Clear on the inside.
Oh, look at that run. Crossover. 4 laps left in this, and I got a 40-second lead on Greg Biffle. All right. Mark Martin didn't make it hard on me. That's good.
Clear on the low side.
Look at that run. It's like I'm the only one who could commit to the throttle.
High side's clear.
Jeez.
Go down low.
They're so much slower.
Car outside you. We can do this.
Is that David
all
Reagan?
day.
Yes, it is. And he is 80 miles off the pace.
On the high side.
Yeah, somebody actually did pit because there's somebody on pit road.
Ready to go.
I don't have a good reason for that. Look at the run.
Clear right side.
It was so big I had to actually lift off 2. I wanted that bottom. I was going to make sure I got it off Paul. I might be able to lap the whole field, actually, if I'm really efficient with the traffic right now. At least going to lap Jeff Gordon, make DW feel terrible about himself.
Clear right. Check your inside.
There we go. There's Jeff. See ya.
You're good low.
One Montoya up here, but I'm more actually impressed about Regan Smith in that Phoenix racing car, actually doing a pretty good job.
Go low, go low.
Oh, man. That was a pretty sloppy corner,
Clear, bud.
but I didn't wreck it. Is that McDowell? Yes, it is. I really hope he's up in the top 10. Up. Well, he didn't wreck.
Make it count now.
All right,
Here we
race
go. One
official.
more time. Nice and
I'm not going to lap Greg Biffle, I can tell you that, but I can get everybody else.
Car approaching high.
I had to do that. I really did. Nobody wrecked, though. That's the impressive part. All right, so I'm actually going to, it looks like, lap all the way up to 4th. And again, imagine if somebody did that in Indianapolis. 3rd, rather.
Clear low.
Okay, maybe 2nd. Travis Pastrana,
Clear on the outside.
good job, buddy. Bump draft.
Great job, man. Great job. That's what it's all about right there. We'll see you in victory lane, man.
We've won it. But it looks like Travis Pastrana did really, really good. That's a win
You're the man.
in protest of us not going to IRP. I have to do the burnout directly on the bricks. You understand exactly why this is. It's called formal protest. We should be at IRP.
They're loving you for that
There we
one,
go.
man.
Robby Gordon makes his mark on human history with the 19th win of the 2013 Sprint Cup season. Now I wonder what I can hit really hard here. Because Indy's got some pretty straight walls to hit, so I might be able to do it. All right, so I am going to make the full speed victory lap without pitting. Thank God. Let's try this one first to get that angle right. Not good enough. It's going to be like Pocono.
Way to go.
Okay, let's hit it.
Good job, man. Great job today. They're loving you for that one, man.
I'm telling you, RGM puts together some sturdy race cars. Okay, that's why we do these victory celebrations like this. It's actually crash testing, proving sturdiness.
You're the man. They're loving you for that one, man.
There it is.
You're the man.
Finally, we're about to burn down IMS. Yeah, I know. That is how you make an entrance. Robby Gordon tried to do it in IndyCar, couldn't. Comes back with the RGM 07.
Number one. That was a great drive and an awesome performance.
All right, so it looks like I was about 2 seconds faster than the entire field, but this race has been a complete screw when it comes to the points. Travis Pastrana finished actually 3rd. I was a little bit worried he was just like a lap car or something that was up there. He actually was in 3rd, and I kept him on the lead lap on purpose there. So I lapped all the way up to 4th position. So Greg Biffle's 2nd. He's coming on really strong these last couple races. But how about this? Like Michael McDowell 7th. He outplaced Jeff Gordon at the Brickyard. That is amazing. Jeff Burton with a 6th place finish in his final, full Cup season. Danica top 10. David Reagan 19th. He needs to start getting top 20s, if he wants to get to 20th in points. So that's good. Martin Truex Jr. 36th. That's bad. But then Carl Edwards 31st. That solidifies Pastrana up in there with his 3rd place finish. Joe Nemechek didn't suck. But then Matt Kenseth 41st. By far his worst run of the season. Jimmy Johnson also dead last. But Matt Kenseth 41st. After doing so good this season, that's going to be absolutely massive when it comes to the points race. That more or less brings Greg Biffle up to where he could be second when all this shakes down. Look at this. Can't fit the full characters into the replay file. Indianapolis it is. Okay, the point gap is disastrous. 302 points above Matt Kenseth, who barely holds on to second. Greg Biffle, though, moves up to third, and he's only a couple points out of second now because both Truex and Matt Kenseth absolutely fell on their faces at Indy. The AIs are so far off pace, and I think it's actually worse at a track like Indy than Martinsville, because Martinsville, sure, they were really far off pace, and Bristol sucked because of how actually on pace and indestructible they were, because they just keep wrecking. But Indy doesn't even give you anything to talk about, because Martinsville, you're jamming into people because there's so many cars for as short of a track it is. Bristol, you're really jamming into people. But Indianapolis, it's wide and open. It's like run on the interstate for 90% of the race once you get out front. I'm so proud of Travis Pastrana. He's back up to 9th in points. He's kicked Carl Edwards actually out of the chase, which isn't exactly good for Roush, but what a performance. 7 top 10s this season, and Jeff Gordon picks his way back up into the chase grid. But again, Travis still has more top 10s than Jeff Gordon, but Gordon has 5 poles, but nobody cares about that. 1, by the way, up into the battle for a chase spot. Most often, when you're 20 races into a season, there's more than 2 winners. But David Reagan does move up into 28th. He's got to get up to 20th to make the chase, but still, he's got that win, and he's actually starting to get some momentum back. Last car, Joe Nemechek, still got that advantage by about 37 points, so he is still with a pretty solid advantage. So anyway, that's been Indianapolis. Feels like a blur, to be honest with you. We should go to IRP, all right, hands down. Okay, we've already determined that. That whole race feels like a blur. I don't even feel like anything happened. At least I can't remember any of it. Anyway, next race is Pocono, so it's going to be kind of a similar story when it comes to, I don't know if there's any highlights. There was highlights in the last Pocono race, but that was, again, my own doing, just like the beginning of this Brickyard 400. But anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We got a Patreon set up as well. Lots more content coming up, like Robby Gordon and a bunch of other crap I come up with. But right now, I got to live out my fantasy of cup racing at IRP, if you'll excuse me.